At the Burleson U.S. Flying Corps base someplace in the mainland USA, the unusual Brigadier General Jack D. Ripper, Real Hayden, orders the 34 atomic furnished B-52s of the 843rd Bomb Wing past their safeguard places where they typically hold, anticipating potential orders to continue and into Soviet airspace. He likewise tells the faculty on the base that the US and the USSR have gone into a shooting war. In the war room at the Pentagon, aviation-based Armed Forces General Buck Turgidson, George C. Scott, briefs President Merkin Muffley, Peter Merchants, about the assault that overall Ripper requested.
Albeit an atomic assault ought to require official position to be started, Ripper utilized Plan R, a crisis war plan empowering a senior official to send off a counter-negative mark against the Soviets if everybody in the typical hierarchy of leadership, including the president, has been killed during a sneak assault.
Plan R was expected to deter the Soviets from sending off a beheading strike against the president in Washington to disturb U.S. order and control and stop an American atomic counterattack. Turgidson attempts to persuade Muffley to exploit what is happening to dispense with the Soviets as a danger by sending off a full-scale assault. Turgidson accepts that the U.S. is in a prevalent vital position, and a first negative mark against the Soviet Association would obliterate 90% of their rockets before they could fight back, bringing about a triumph for the U.S. with okay American setbacks from something like 10 to 20 million killed, tops. Contingent upon the breaks. He is reproached when Muffley rather concedes. The Soviet representative, Peter Bull, to the conflict room, contacts Soviet chief Dmitry Kisov on the hotline, and demands giving the Soviets all the data important to kill the American planes before they can complete their strikes. Bunch Chief Lionel Mandrake, likewise played by Peter Dealers, a RAF trade official filling in as Broad Ripper's top dog, understands that there has been no assault on the U.S. at the point when he turns on a radio and hears popular music rather than common safeguard cautions. At the point when Mandrake uncovers this to Ripper, and Ripper won't remember the wing, Mandrake declares that he will give the review on his own power. However, just Ripper realizes the three-letter code fundamental for reviewing the planes and secures both of them in his office. Mandrake attempts to persuade Ripper to surrender the three-letter code. The maniacal Ripper denies and babbles that the socialists have an arrangement to sap and impurify the valuable natural liquids of the American nation with fluoridated water, a hypothesis that happened to him during sex, and which he accepted to be the reason for his postcoital weariness. Via telephone, a concealed and plastered Kisov uncovers to the Soviet envoy that their nation has introduced a functioning Judgment Day gadget which will naturally obliterate all human and creature life on the planet on the off chance that an atomic assault were to stir things up around town. Association. The Armageddon gadget is worked by an organization of PCs and has been considered as a definitive impediment. As a protect, it can't be deactivated, or it will set itself off, on the grounds that its equipment and projects have been designed so that an endeavor at its deactivation would be perceived as damage. The Armageddon weapon is portrayed as founded on cobalt thorium-G. This was roused by the genuine thought of a cobalt bomb, brought about by atomic trailblazer Leo Szilard, pioneer behind Board for a Decent World. As per the Soviet minister, life on Earth's surface will be terminated in 10 months and was made as a minimal expense option in contrast to the bomb race. The president presently calls upon Dr. Strangelove, aka Merkwerde Jalib, a previous Nazi and system master, Dealers in his third job. The wheelchair-bound Strangelove is a kind of crazy lab rat, whose erraticisms incorporate an extreme instance of outsider hand disorder, so his right hand, clad in an unpropitious dark calfskin glove, sporadically endeavors to choke Strangelove or make the Nazi salute. Nobody in the room acts in the event that this is unusual. Strangelove additionally sneaks intending to the president, as all things considered mein President or even mein Führer. Strangelove makes sense of the standards behind the Judgment Day gadget, which he says is easy to comprehend, trustworthy and persuading. He likewise brings up that a Judgment Day gadget maintained mystery has no worth as a hindrance. The Soviet envoy concedes that his administration had introduced it a couple of days before they planned to report it freely to the world, on the grounds that Kisov loves shocks. U.S. Armed Force soldiers sent by the president show up at Burleson to capture General Ripper. Since Ripper has cautioned his men that the foe could go after camouflaged as American warriors, the base's security powers, and Ripper himself with a .50 Type M1919 cooking automatic rifle kept in his golf pack, open discharge on them. After a wild firefight, the military powers win the fight and get to the base, and Ripper, dreading torment to extricate the review code, ends it all. Colonel Bat Guano, Keenan Wynn, shoots his direction into Ripper's office, however, thinks that Mandrake, whose uniform he doesn't perceive, is driving a rebellion of digressed preverts and continues to capture him. Mandrake persuades Guano that he needs to call the president to let him know the review code, which he has reasoned from Ripper's work area blotting surface doodles to be founded on the initials for the expressions tranquility on the planet and immaculateness of quintessence. Since office telephone associations had been taken out by the battling at the base, Mandrake is compelled to utilize a compensation telephone to attempt to contact the president. Not having the right change to put a significant distance call to the Pentagon, Mandrake convinces Guano to shoot a Coca-Cola candy machine to receive the adjustment of return, and ultimately can advance the probable code blends to key air order. The right review code, OPE, is given to the planes, and those that poor person been killed return to base aside from one. Its radio and gas tanks were harmed by a Soviet enemy of airplane rocket, with the outcome that the plane is neither ready to get the review code nor to arrive at its essential or optional objective where, at the encouraging of the US president, the Soviets have thought every single accessible safeguard. On the group's own drive, and losing fuel, the plane returns to fly at low level under radar to a nearer focus of chance. As they start their bomb run, the harmed B-52's cargo openings won't open, and airplane commandant significant T.J. Lord Kong, Thin Pickens, goes down to the bomb inlet to open them himself. He succeeds similarly as the plane arrives at its objective, and one of the atomic bombs falls, with Kong actually sitting on it. He rides the bomb and rides it to the ground like a rodeo cattle rustler, whooping and hollering and waving his rancher cap. The bomb detonates, setting off the Armageddon machine. Back in the conflict room, Dr. Strangelove prescribes to the president that a select gathering of around at least 200,000 individuals be migrated into a profound mining tunnel, where the thermal radiation can't contact them, so the US can be repopulated subsequently. Due to space constraints, Strangelove proposes an orientation proportion of 10 females to every male, with the ladies chose for their sexual qualities, and the men chose based on their actual strength, scholarly capacities, and significance in business and government. General Turgidson blusters that the Soviets will probably make a far superior shelter than the US, and contends that America should not permit a mining tunnel hole. In the meantime, the Soviet diplomat retreats to an edge of the conflict room and starts taking pictures with a government operative camera camouflaged as a pocket watch. A noticeably invigorated Dr. Strangelove bolts out of his wheelchair, yelling "Mein Führer, I can walk." Unexpectedly, the film closes with a torrent of atomic blasts, joined by Vera Lynn's popular The Second Great War melody "We'll Meet Once More."